This show is part of OnePlace, a daily network of focused briefings across the stories people follow most.
Welcome to the Roundup. We are diving into a packed slate of sports news today, from high-stakes playoff rotations to the future stars of the NFL and the global soccer stage.
Mikal Bridges faces benching after a scoreless playoff performance.
The NFL Draft's second night features deep defensive talent.
48 stars to watch for the 2026 World Cup.
Fernando Mendoza leads the 2026 NFL Draft class picks.
Thomas Howell becomes college basketball's highest-paid player ever.
Spurs face the Blazers without star Victor Wembanyama.
Diego Pavia clarifies his agent status before the draft.
Vegas stars need to score against the Utah Mammoth.
First, the Knicks' struggles.
The New York Knicks are facing a serious dilemma with Mikal Bridges after a truly forgettable Game 3 performance against the Atlanta Hawks. Bridges finished the game with a stat line that fans are already calling the 0-1, 2 feet, 0 points, 1 rebound, and 2 assists in 20 minutes of play. This was a 1-point loss, 109-108, and Bridges was a staggering -26 while on the floor. It is almost hard to believe a player of his caliber could have such a minimal impact in a high-stakes playoff game. He missed all 3 of his shot attempts and didn't even look at the rim after the second quarter. With the Knicks now trailing 2-1 in the series, head coach Mike Brown is under immense pressure to make a change to the starting lineup.
It is a shocking turn of events, considering the Knicks gave up 5 first-round picks to acquire Bridges just last summer. During the regular season, he was a reliable contributor, averaging over 14 points on efficient shooting. However, his production has cratered in this series. While Coach Brown hasn't officially committed to a lineup change for Game 4, he admitted the team has to look at everything. Deuce McBride, who finished Game 3 as a +16, seems like the obvious candidate to step in if Bridges is moved to the bench. The stakes couldn't be higher for New York. If they can't find a way to get Bridges going or successfully pivot to McBride, that massive trade for Bridges will be scrutinized even more heavily by a frustrated fan base heading into Atlanta.
Now to the NFL Draft.
The 2026 NFL Draft has already delivered plenty of drama after a chaotic first round, and now the focus shifts to the best players available for Night 2. While the Las Vegas Raiders taking Fernando Mendoza at number 1 was expected, the rest of the first round was a whirlwind of trades and surprises. The Los Angeles Rams shocked everyone by taking Alabama quarterback Ty Simpson at 13, signaling they are ready to plan for the post-Matthew Stafford era despite being Super Bowl favorites. We also saw the Cardinals grab Jeremiah Love and the Cowboys trade up for Caleb Downs. As we head into the second and third rounds, the board is still loaded with talent that can provide immediate help, particularly for teams looking to bolster their lines or secondary depth in a very deep class.
Looking at the top names remaining on Rob Rang's big board, there is a lot of value to be found. Wide receiver Elijah Sarrett from Indiana is a name to watch. He is a big possession receiver with incredibly sticky hands, who offers a very high floor for any team needing a reliable target. On the defensive side, Florida State's Darrell Jackson Jr. is an absolute mountain of a man at 6'6" and 315 pounds. His long arms and ability to shed blockers make him a perfect two-gap prospect for a defensive interior. We also have intriguing transitions like Clemson's Adam Randall, who moved from receiver to running back and showed great vision. These middle rounds are where rosters are truly built, and with so many starters still available, Night 2 promises to be just as impactful.
Next, the World Cup stars.
The 2026 FIFA World Cup is fast approaching, and with 48 teams competing, the star power is going to be unprecedented. While legends like Lionel Messi and Cristiano Ronaldo will naturally draw the biggest crowds, there are specific players from every single squad that fans should keep an eye on. For host nation Mexico, Raúl Jiménez remains the focal point of the attack. At 34 years old, he is still in fantastic form for Fulham and is closing in on the all-time scoring record for El Tri. He scored 9 goals for the national team in 2025 alone, including crucial strikes in the Gold Cup. His experience in 3 previous World Cups will be vital as Mexico looks to make a deep run on home soil this summer, and his current clinical finishing suggests he is ready for the moment.
Beyond the established giants, there are players like South Africa's Lyle Foster and South Korea's Son Heung-min who carry the hopes of their nations. Foster, who plays for Burnley in the Premier League, is a fast and dangerous striker who needs his teammates to find him in space to be effective. Then you have Sonny, the undisputed captain of South Korea, who recently moved to LAFC in the United States. He is a global icon and will likely be a massive fan favorite during the tournament. With the expanded format, we are going to see a fascinating mix of veteran legends and emerging talents from smaller footballing nations. Each of these 48 players represents a unique storyline, whether they are chasing scoring records or trying to lead their country to a historic upset on the world stage.
Moving to draft results.
The 2026 NFL Draft is officially underway, and the era of mock drafts has finally ended as the real picks are being turned in. As many analysts predicted, quarterback Fernando Mendoza was the first name called, heading to the Las Vegas Raiders. Mendoza has been the talk of the pre-draft process, especially after his recent interview discussing his journey and the leadership he plans to bring to a professional locker room. But once that first pick was in, the draft board became a total mystery. Questions swirled around the New York Jets at number 2 and whether they would opt for David Bailey. There was also significant intrigue regarding the quarterback rankings, specifically whether LSU's Garrett Nussmeier would slide due to recent medical news regarding a cyst on his spine that may have impacted his play last season.
The medical concerns for Nussmeier really opened the door for Ty Simpson to potentially rise as the second quarterback off the board. Teams are also closely watching for sleepers who could sneak into the back end of the first round. We are tracking every single selection live, providing grades and analysis for each move. It is a pivotal night for franchises like the Jets and the Cowboys, who are looking for that one missing piece to propel them into deep playoff runs. With the first round now in the books, the focus shifts to how these teams will address the remaining needs in the subsequent rounds. The depth of this class means that even teams without a first-round pick can still find players who will be expected to compete for starting roles during training camp this summer.
Now, a massive NIL deal.
In a move that highlights the changing landscape of college sports, Florida's Thomas Howe has reportedly become the highest-paid college basketball player ever. Howe, a 6'9" junior wing, was widely projected as a lottery pick in the 2026 NBA draft, with some boards ranking him as high as 13th overall. Usually, a player with that kind of draft stock is a lock to turn professional, but the power of NIL has changed the math. Hoff announced he is returning to Gainesville for his senior season, a decision that immediately makes the Gators a preseason favorite for the 2027 National Championship. He is expected to earn roughly what he would have made in his first 2 NBA seasons combined if he had been a top 20 pick. This is a staggering amount of money that keeps elite talent in the college game.
This decision by Howe is part of a larger trend at Florida, as teammate Alex Condon is also returning, and Ruben Chignello is testing the draft waters but hasn't entered the portal. If all three return, the Gators will reunite the core of their 2024 championship team. While we have seen projected top picks return to school before, like Joakim Noah or Miles Bridges, it hasn't happened for a player this highly touted in nearly a decade. The reported NIL figures are reaching levels previously only seen in high-end football recruitments or for global stars like Caitlin Clark. For Florida fans, this is incredible news, but for the NBA, it represents a new challenge in scouting and recruitment. The Gators are now positioned as a powerhouse, proving that college programs can now financially compete with professional rookie contracts to keep their stars.
Next, Spurs versus Blazers.
The NBA playoff series between the San Antonio Spurs and the Portland Trail Blazers has taken a dramatic turn heading into Game 3. What initially looked like a straightforward matchup for the second-seeded Spurs is now a major question mark following a disastrous Game 2. The biggest story is the status of Victor Wembanyama, who had to leave the last game early due to the league's concussion protocol. Without their superstar center, the Spurs struggled immensely to find offense, with no player scoring more than 18 points. This allowed the Blazers to sneak out a narrow 3-point victory, led by a dominant 31-point performance from Scoot Henderson. Portland's front court also stepped up, with Donovan Clingan and Robert Williams III combining for a massive rebounding effort that exploited Wembanyama's absence and leveled the series as they head home.
As of now, it remains unclear if Wembanyama will be cleared in time for Friday night's tip-off at the Moda Center. He has several stages of the concussion protocol to navigate, and the Spurs medical staff will be cautious. If he can't go, the pressure falls on the rest of the San Antonio roster to fill that massive void on both ends of the floor. For the Blazers, this is a golden opportunity to take control of the series in front of their home crowd. Fans looking to catch the action should note that the game will not be on traditional cable. It is streaming exclusively on Prime Video at 10:30 p.m. Eastern. With the series tied at 1-1, this Game 3 is a pivotal moment that could define the trajectory of the entire first round for both teams.
Now, Diego Pavia's representation.
Vanderbilt quarterback and Heisman runner-up Diego Pavia has been making headlines recently, but not just for his play on the field. A clip from an interview with John Gruden went viral where Pavia stated, "Ain't nobody taking my money," leading to some confusion about his professional representation. Pavia was actually referring to his past NIL negotiations at Vanderbilt, where he chose to represent himself rather than paying an agent a percentage of his deals. He felt it wasn't fair to give up 5 to 10% of his earnings when he could handle the discussions himself. However, some fans and media outlets misinterpreted this to mean he wouldn't have an agent for the NFL draft. This prompted a quick clarification from his actual NFL representative, Malky Kawa, who is the CEO of First Round Management and handles Pavia's professional career.
Kawa took to social media to shut down the rumors, explaining that while Pavia didn't use an agent for NIL, he is very much represented for the NFL transition. This distinction is important as Pavia prepares for the draft, where the complexities of rookie contracts and team negotiations are much higher than standard NIL agreements. Pavia's self-reliance in the college space actually speaks to his business savvy, but he recognizes the need for professional help on the bigger stage. As he makes his media rounds, his stock remains a point of discussion among scouts who admire his grit and production at Vanderbilt. Whether he is drafted as a starter or a high-end backup, the narrative around his representation is now clear. He is focused on the league and has the right team behind him to navigate the process.
Finally, the Golden Knights.
The Vegas Golden Knights are heading into Salt Lake City for a crucial stretch of their playoff series against the Utah Mammoth, and they desperately need their stars to find the back of the net. So far in the postseason, Jack Eichel, Thomas Hertl, and Mitch Marner have combined for a total of 0 goals. They have 5 assists between them, but for the team's 3rd, 4th, and 5th leading scorers from the regular season, that simply isn't enough production. Eichel, who was a hero during the 2023 championship run, has a history of starting slow before exploding in Game 3, so the team is hoping for a repeat of that magic. He has historically played well against the Mammoth, but he needs to translate that regular season success into playoff goals if Vegas wants to reclaim the series lead.
Mitch Marner is another player under the microscope. While he has been a playmaker with an assist in each of the first 2 games, his road scoring has been a concern. He only had 5 goals away from Vegas during the regular season, and the Knights need him to break that trend in the hostile environment of Salt Lake City. Thomas Hertl also needs to step up. He has shown flashes of playoff brilliance in the past, but has been quiet lately. The Mammoth are playing with a lot of confidence and are looking to pull off the upset, so the Golden Knights' offensive leaders cannot afford another quiet night. If these 3 can't find a way to beat the Utah goaltending, Vegas could find themselves in a very dangerous position heading back home for the later games of the series.
That wraps up our briefing for today. Join us again tomorrow for another deep dive into the stories that matter most. Don't forget to follow the show to stay updated on every major headline.